Here, stop again. I made a mistake.
Why?
I never should fold my hands back on my hair.
No, Walter. Never was hit play. How could it be? Okay, Bob.
Can you open the window, man? It's too hot.
It's open. All the windows.
It's because the back windows got blocked off by the curtain, right?
No, that's a miracle.
This is stuff you were going to ask me in February, right?
This is something. Okay, Bob. I want to ask you something about a comment Simon Prentice made to me.
What's his qualifications?
Well.
Okay, fuck it. Go on.
Yeah.
Very bad. Fucking okay. Wake up, Jerry. Wake up.
This is a rewording from the notes I took from him the night I attended a show of Don Preston. Instead of being attentive to the music, we were gabbing away.
This is just before I showed up in February?
Yeah. Well, no, you were here.
Don Preston, is that
Don Preston, the night we went, Carolyn's birthday.
Oh, yeah, but that's where Ensemble was, too.
I don't know what you're talking about.
No, Modern Meridian. The night you went to Meridian Arts
was my birthday. Carolyn's birthday was Don Preston.
Right, so I talked to Melody, the night of Carolyn's birthday. Melody and you went off to somewhere.
Yeah.
So you'd already talked to us about the 15th, or is it the 14th, your birthday?
My birthday's the 15th.
Yeah,
Carolyn's
so you were
the
describing the 15th night to us on the 20th, and then you went and saw Dawn.
Yeah.
Yeah, you discussed the Meridian from the 15th.
Right.
On the 20th. Okay, so what was your point?
So now I'm going to start over.
So Simon met you there?
Yeah.
Simon met you there? Yeah, let's start over. Erased, you mean?
No, I'm gonna say okay.
You're gonna dub this onto his thing,
Yeah,
so it doesn't matter about the preamble.
Yeah.
So you and Simon talked about something.
Yeah. Okay, Bob. I'm gonna tell you about what Simon and I talked about on March 20th, 1993.
Connie's birthday.
Connie's birthday, and
she was 44 years old.
Oh. And Simon basically told me these points of view that he has, this main point of view that he has.
Well, having a point of view is obsolete already, but well, let's
right.
humor the guy.
Right, so you can bust him right for that. So whether you want to call this a point of view or not, maybe not. I'm just telling you that this is my wording of it, so it might not be exact. That's all. I'm just making a disclaimer.
All right, well, a point of view everybody has privately, but it's irrelevant in the public domain because the electric environment, wipes away the relevance of a point of view in the public domain. When you're communicating to the public, you don't use a point of view, but he can have a point of view privately. So
right.
This is a private point of view.
Come to think of it, I don't think this is a point of view. I think this is a belief.
Which he would relate to. He would say this in public. Would he say this in public?
He believes this, and he would say it in public.
Okay.
I believe. Okay, so I'm going to read you a couple sentences and tell you basically, and then you can react to it. Okay. Yeah. Simon said, "You have a choice to do what you want or to do what you don't want, but you don't have a choice about what you want to do. The way is what you want. Destiny resolves the problem. You do have a free will to become your destiny." Confucius, the Chinese guy, said that the secret of the universe, that the secret of the universe is, quote, "There are not two, only one." No, Confucius said, what is the secret of the universe? There are not two, only one. Okay, now backtrack to the main point of the statement is, you have a choice to do what you want or to do what you don't want, but you don't have a choice about what you want to do.
That's true. Well, there's no problem. That's fucking irrelevant, but that's true.
Oh, you agree?
For a private, yeah, that's the old Alan Watts. The world is the battle between the voluntary and the involuntary. There's a certain reality that's involuntary, that you're predestined, especially if you reincarnate it with a certain goal in this lifetime, which you study when you die, and then look at all your lifetimes and relate what you did in this lifetime with other lifetimes, both in the future and the past. That's the involuntary part of life on this dimension. But there is the voluntary hallucinatory level of your will, where you can determine the rate you're going to do the inevitable, or whether you're going to put it off or do it or interpret the results of what you do. So the universe is limited and open-ended at the same time. That's just the ancient paradox. So that's not something worth announcing in public. Everybody knows that. Everybody believes that, whether they deny it or accept it or understand it. Everybody lives like that. They all know they're going to survive death, and yet they'll refuse to admit it, you know? That's the Alan Watts stuff. So that's just a personal metaphysic that's common sense. You know, there's no big deal, and it doesn't tell us anything about our situation today.
Yeah, but I seem to have a choice. It seems to me you do have a choice about what you want to do.
Yeah, you have free will. You can kill yourself and do whatever you want to do. But then you have to deal...
But he says you don't have a choice about what you want.
As much as you include other people, you don't have a choice, because you're obligated to other people's reactions of what you do. But as much as you want to cut yourself off from people, you're free to do whatever you want to do. But when you die, you probably have to fucking take it in consideration when you look at your life and evaluate it with your other lives. Now, let's say you don't believe in reincarnation, then you just got this one life and you're not going to survive it. Then it's a Zen problem, and you can do what you want to do. And then you'll die and you won't even know what you did. So if you believe that, then it doesn't even matter that he thinks that. So what's the point here? It takes...
Okay, well, you agree with that. Why don't we go into a second point?
That, so what did he say? So he's saying,
That's what he said, and I didn't quite agree with him. We also talked...
Well, what didn't you agree with? And that might help clarify what we're talking about here.
I think you do have a choice about what you want to do. You have a choice to read a McLuhan book.
Yep.
You have a choice to do what you want to do.
If I know about it.
Right. So you've learned about it, and you have a choice to read a McLuhan book instead of watching TV.
Right.
So he's saying you have a choice to do what you want or to do what you don't want, but you don't have a choice about what you want to do.
About what you want to do.
Yeah, but you don't have a choice about
you mean
what
you have
you
your
want to do.
Yeah, well, that's your innate nature. You're probably your instincts that have been programmed by all kinds of sources. So whatever you've been programmed into a shape, whatever shape you are, that's what you're controlled by. But then maybe you can have a level of willpower on how much you're going to itch that want or itch that bias or instinct. So what the hell does that tell you? That's the endless paradox of how much of our lives are habit and how much are improvisation or spontaneity. So, I mean... that's common sense. Everybody knows that. And then there's be an argument about what forces control you on the want level. What makes you want to want things? What's the want part that you're controlled by? What's controlling that? What created that in you? That's an endless discussion, right? Different disciplines have different views on that. Is it genetic, environmental, biological, instinctual, religious? So why would you disagree with that statement?
Well, I just told you. I said you do have a choice about what you want to do.
See, but you're taking one side of it. It's a comprehensive statement in the sense it includes both sides. So what includes the freedom and the control. And if you sort of say, I'm going to focus on the control and rebel against that, then you have Jerry's point of view. Or if you're going to focus on the freedom against the control, then that might not be Jerry's point of view. But you're looking at one versus the other when they both go together.
Well,
you couldn't have a point of view about his statement. That's a fact. That's like a figure-ground relationship.
Well, I think that you can have a point of view because he's saying you have a choice to do what you want or do what you don't want. You have a choice, but you don't have a choice about what you want.
But you have to define what you want means.
Right.
And you shouldn't have an opinion until you get him to define what he means, because you might find his definition.
Well, that's part of the discussion. He went into that. He was saying the way is what you want. Destiny resolves the problem. You do have a free will to become your destiny.
Destiny.
You do have a free will, and that's where we talked about destiny.
And you disagreed with that?
Well, I think that destiny has something to do, but I think there's a lot to do with the choosing of the
Yeah, that
individual.
he
Has
says
a
that
lot.
too. He says the same thing. That's what he's saying. So what you have to be careful of why you think you disagree. I mean, you're just agreeing with them. It depends on
Because
what
I don't
word.
agree with the statement. You don't have a choice about what you want to do.
Right. Well, you got to analyze what you mean by one and what he means by one, and you probably find out you mean the same thing. But in the context of that statement, it sounded different to you. It sounded something you didn't agree with.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard for me to recall this whole conversation just from the minimal amount of notes I had.
Yeah.
But another quote that came up, and I don't know if this is related, is music is a special form of thought which expresses nothing but itself.
Well, that's the point of acoustic space. You can't contain acoustic space. So it is itself. You are the music as long as it lasts. So that's the nature of acoustic space, is that it is its own condition. Whereas with visual space, you can contain things via visual space and therefore mutate them and create a schizophrenic response to things. But music is just the response that it evokes in you. You get what I'm saying? So yeah, that's is that your thought or his thought?
That's Perez.
That's Varese, a direct quote.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's just describing the sense of acoustic space. That's the fact. Now, to be creative is to compare that to not to be a devoted musician and declare that as the be-all, and just say that's the bias of music. It makes you live in a situation where you are it. You know, it doesn't refer to anything else. You are just it. You know, with visual space creates a symbol for something so that you can you are referring to something else. Music, you don't refer to something else. You are the music as it happens, and the feelings it evokes.
Let's go to this. Maybe we'll return to the other. This is from the Oulipo French man's letter I received today. This part's called Collective Memory. I've noticed that almost every conversation in privacy is about collective memory. With people almost unknown, they meet at a party. Politics, religion, TV shows, food. With friends, remembrance of old memories, when we were at school, when we traveled, when we were together. With lovers, first meeting, first kiss, first common holiday, first pregnancy. In fact, memories seem more important than immediate reality. They are like a social glue. People seem to meet in fantasized past, which can be less dangerous than a present reality. You want to react or read a little more?
Well, yeah, I'll react. I mean, that's what man is. Man is the word. Word is language. Man is the common shared environment, which is the spoken word. So the spoken word contains all previous experience. So when you're talking, you may, as your content, be ostensibly talking about the past, but it's a way of communicating in the present. So you live in the present by talking about the past. The past is the content's a rearview mirror. The real importance of the party communication or whatever communication he talks about, it's like fat at communion. It's a way of sharing your humanness via language with someone else. The humanness is language. So so of course the living present is language. The content refers to the past, but the activity of language is something live and created right then in your thoughts that you get from talking about the past and the reactions, because down the way you'll talk about what you talked about tonight in that party,
right,
as content for the present interaction 2 months from now. So the timeless aspect is language itself, the act of speaking. That's what humans are. And we now have new media. We do this is the electric media. We all live in the present electric dimension with past cultures as its content, or past materials as its content, but it's the act of sharing the television every day. That's what talk shows are all about. It's not what's said on talk shows. It's the fact you can turn on the television and share the discarnate modern language as a form of communication. So communication is always that, and is always what I just said. And if you emphasize the past, unless he's going to say more, there's nothing.
There is a little more. Let's
okay.
see. That's why in parties people isolate themselves. by groups of 4 or 3 talking, each group about different things, like seeking a virtual reality. Maybe that is the becoming of virtual reality, offering of support for fantasies in conversation. I can't read this one word.
Well, remember, language
Something
is virtual.
support.
Language is virtual reality. So yeah, language is virtual reality.
That's also how many people tried to survive mentally in Nazi concentration camps. They talked about recipes, food, chess playing, God, anything that could create a parallel, neutral universe where they could feel secure. And I think that if we seek for culture, books, music, video, movies, it's for creating our own survival mental world to get the real world less painful.
Yeah. So language is art, and art is for comfort. So man needs comfort, and he does it through language. And all culture is language. So culture and language are comfort. So what was his last point? Yeah, because the raw present is so hard to put up with.
To make the real world less painful.
The raw present, the eternal present. So all culture, as I say in my liner notes, is a filtering. And language is a filtering of the raw intake of data. So on the thought, if you think of thought as the content of speech is thought, thought seems to be eternal in the sense that that's consciousness. You know, there's maybe a fine line between mind and thought. Thought becomes language, so there's a fine line between language and the mind. As the mind sits there in the eternal present, it has to sort of look at itself. So it uses, on the primitive level, thought to look at itself. That's get out of itself by looking at itself through another medium. So thought was the original medium to look at yourself, and then all culture that came after that, all media, like speech, are ways of looking at your eternal present. Eternal present. So it's a way of escaping yourself. So what's the first line in emphatic communion? Mind is the mirror. Spoken word is the mirror of the mind. So all culture is a mirror, and it's a vibrant mirror, a pulsating mirror. And the first mirror is thought, and then the second mirror, which is a way of expressing it publicly if we didn't have ESP, is speech. So it's all a comfort and numbing to escape the raw perception of consciousness itself.
So is language obsolete?
No.
Is music obsolete?
No, nothing's obsolete. But what do we mean by obsolete? Obsolete means something that's a cliche taken for granted. So nothing is not taken for granted now. Everything is cliche through use. So the raw present, the raw present is the latest language, which is the electric environment. That's our latest language. So everything revolves around that. So everything is, all previous media, including music and speech, are ways of looking at the raw present of electric extension of our consciousness.
Is there a better way to do it all?
Yeah, but understand it.
And how do you acquire understanding?
Study my stuff, do your homework. That's always, what I always say. So what else? You just study the best, even though it hurts. Anybody can understand the best if they apply themselves. They might take longer than someone else, but they got a long time to live, so why not start?
Well, if one person says Jonathan Swift is the best, and the next person says James Joyce is the best, and the next person says George Perec is the best, who do you believe?
Well, you go beyond those content preferences and look at the eternal tradition, Look at all the different...
What defines the eternal?
Well, my book has got the 5 traditions,
What are the 5 traditions?
LaRouche, McLuhan, Thompson, and Croker, and myself. So, whatever you want to interpret LaRouche as the science, the dialectic, McLuhan the rhetorician, Thompson the mystic, and Croker the sociological activist, and me the transmedium mangled version of all of them at once. So those are the 5 traditions, and if you have a bias, you have a preference for one, that's okay. You can wall around your preference for a while, but you should make the effort to get out of your preference. That's what everybody says. Find out who in fact you really are. And once you find out who you are, then you don't have to fucking be so obsessive about being who you are.
Oh, have you found out who you are?
Of course. That's a long time ago. Anybody, with the amount of work I did, it was inevitable. It was destiny to find out who I am. That's destiny. But then what are you going to do after that? So you create ways of communicating in relation to the present.
What ways did you create?
Well, that book and the CD and the radio show and all that stuff,
But you didn't create those ways. You used ways that existed.
That's creativity. Cliche to archetype. Cliche is what's usable, and archetype is something new you create out of it. Or vice versa. The archetype is what's available, and you create a new cliche out of it, which offers startling awareness and perception of your time. Which is a mirror of all times. But all times is what we're avoiding, so we like to talk about our time.
What's the
Hence we got to go to the party.
And what's the new cliche or archetype you're going to?
Oh, I am the new cliche.
No, what's the new way you're going to utilize?
Through homeopathic retrievals.
But define those in...
Nah, fuck the definition. Read the book.
Define it in a way that people would
understand. No, read the book. The definition will just be a little pillow to put your head on and then avoid doing the homework.
But I mean, these guys don't have your book.
Well, you fucking Xerox send it to them, They're not gonna read it anyways. They're too busy making whoopee.
Are you too busy making whoopee?
Yeah, making a living, Nobody's got time to understand their time. That's the hell we're in. Nobody's got time to understand it. They all want to. We're at the point now where we all want to understand our time, but we all found out too late when to, what we wanted. And so we're in a catch-22 situation where we all know what we want, but we can't take the time to get it.
But now you're putting yourself with them.
No, I'm not part of that.
Right.
I had time. I wasn't participating. I was doing my homework. I laid low. If you're going to find the truth, you got to lay low. Never going to find it in a public format or with anybody. You find it with other people, but you ain't going to find it where you think it is. That's what you got to do. You got to say, well, I'm destined to go and instinctively want to go look at there. Well, I'll go look there, but I'll know that I ain't going to find it there because my instinct makes me want to find it there, but it ain't going to be where it is because the truth is horrible. So to find it, you got to be shocked. So always be cautious. Always be paranoid. Go around I'm pretending I'm looking for the truth. You can go to your lectures and whatever you do to find the truth. Always knowing that it ain't going to be there. But you got no choice. You got to go there because you don't know where to really go. But if you do it legitimately and really try to double-cross yourself and say, look, bring me the truth, I'll really want to do it now and stop trying to get comfort, then it might come to you sooner.
Yeah, but it didn't come to you in a painful way.
Oh, how do you know?
Did it? You
None of your
never
fucking
had pain. You never had pain, have you?
No, that's the horrible truth that I had to deal with. That I never had fucking pain, therefore I'm not human. Why me? Why do I have to be so fucking inhuman? Because that's the horrible truth that I have to deal with.
That you learn so much with no pain.
Yeah, they fucking rigged it, man. They know I know where the truth is, so they prevented me from getting to it by giving me total slack on the whole fucking lifetime.
Who's they?
The forces of anti-truth, whatever it is. It's your own unconscious, or it's them. It's reality trying to make it difficult.
The Secret Council of Ten?
Well, no, it's whatever. Who knows what it is? It's just the other. Captain Beefheart's the other. He says his part of his love is for the other. Well, yeah, you got to have part of your love is for the other. The other that's not you, that you're trying to make contact with and also figure out at the same time. So the horrible truth of me is I can explain what the truth is, but they're going to forever deny it to me because I fucking got it down too much. So there's a horrible... Now, is that painful? I'm so fucking slack, I can't even feel the pain of it. So I know what truth is, but they ain't going to let me experience it. So yeah, I never felt pain. Isn't that horrible? But I can't even feel the horribleness because it's so fucking
would you
the
like
fucking
to?
conspiracy.
If they gave you the choice right now, they said, Bob, you can experience it and have pain, or go on the way you have it.
Sure. Well,
You would take the pain way?
Well, I have to because the truth is painful, so you got to do it.
No, I just said to you, you got a choice, A or B. A, you can learn it by pain, or B, go on the way you've been doing it.
It's destiny unfolding through my private will. My private will demands that I experience the pain, but destiny is that I'll never fucking get any pain.
So you're gonna pick
So,
B
I'm pissed
because
off.
you'll never get A.
What was B?
A, you'll learn with pain. B, you'll go on like you have gone on.
A total failure because I had too much non-pain.
You consider yourself a failure?
No, the others will consider me a failure because they'll take me literally and believe my definition. Said, well, that's a correct definition of the truth, but Bob certainly didn't get any of it. Why?
Oh, so you won't answer the question because it's too connected.
I experience so much pain, it's hard to communicate, but the doesn't seem to bother me.
You admitted.
You never met
already.
anybody as happy as me, so what the fuck? Why you?
A few minutes ago, you said you've learned without the pain, and you said the pain is essential.
Well, that's a conspiracy. They're gonna deny me the fucking. I'm telling you, I precisely name what the truth is, and then they deny me the ability to get what I defined. Now that's a fucking piss off. I mean, what's the point? You always get on this personal level. You always want to know about. You know, did you ever have an orgasm, Bob? You know, all these personal things. Wait, what's the point of it?
The point is to.
You're trying to find out if I had any pain, right? Now, do you think I've ever had any pain?
No.
How come? How come you think?
Because you've had a slack-filled life.
So,
I think in a way you've had what could be considered minor pains, but nothing major. I don't think a lot of people of our generation have had pain. We've had it pretty good.
yeah,
That's why our generation's so lame.
yeah,
No pain, we're lame.
yeah. So what's your point? Isn't that what we've been striving for, to have less pain?
Yeah, so you said to me, the only way you learn is with pain. So
Yeah.
I says, Bob, you haven't had pain. How'd you learn?
That's why you can't learn nothing under electric conditions. Other than the pain of...
But how did you learn? Do you consider yourself having learned this?
Because I was able to take the pain.
That you never had.
Yeah, well, that's why I was able to take it. I never felt it, but I sort of went into it, but never
Sorta
felt
went
it.
into it?
Yeah, like
Define what
I
that
went,
term.
I went into the areas that people find very painful, and I was able to do very well in those areas and make discoveries without feeling the pain. So it's like I'm very good at it, but that's not what I should do to find out my truth.
What should you do?
Get pained. Nobody will let me. They keep giving me all this slack.
And you would prefer to get pained.
I doubt if I'd want it, but you have to do it to get the truth, right? According to my definition.
You doubt that you want the pain, but are you sort of saying you would deal with it?
Well, we all want to get the truth in a sense. We hope it means something to get it, but it looks like it's going to be denied to me forever.
You think so?
Yeah.
Looks like
painful. Looks like I'll never get to the experience of truth. While I give truth to everybody else, I'll never get any myself. That's a modern Christian fucking sacrifice. I have sacrificed myself to properly explain what's happening to you, and yet it'll be denied me. It's like Moses, man. He couldn't get to the promised land, right? He died just before he got there.
Why do you think they're denying you?
Because I'm the second coming, and I've made the sacrifice.
Do you think
I've helped you. I'm helping you guys get to the slack zone of truth, but I'll never get there myself. So, maybe when you guys figure out how to deal with it, then you'll revitalize me.
We'll pull you out of that little...
the slack zone and give you some
what
pain.
is that where they put them in dry heat like Walt Disney did?
Yeah, cryogenics.
We'll
Revive my body
we'll
and
pull
say,
you out of the freezer.
Bob, we found a way to bypass reality and get you into the truth of pain. And then you'll let me go into it.
And then we'll defrost you, and then it will just happen right there, because you'll say, man, I was there, man. You fucking defrosted me.
So, you know.
Where's Connie? Where is she?
So there's the paradox, you know. The medium is the message, and the medium never knows itself.
Are you a medium?
Of course.
Like Edward Casey type medium?
Yep. And any other kind of medium, like a television set.
Is everyone a medium?
Unconsciously.
But you're conscious?
Yep. But to be conscious, I have to be numb, you know. I have to have total non-pain to be conscious of it.
And you've had total non-pain.
Yeah, well, it looks that way, doesn't it? I mean, you know, I've had such a happy life. I get so much fucking slack. You know, why? Why me? What did I do to get all this? You know, why do I have the best marriage never known in the history of mankind? You know, why me?
Are you complaining?
Indirectly, I was sort of saying, yeah, why me, right?
You mean you rather?
I don't mind having it, but I can complain from the cosmic point of view. Jesus, this will prevent me from ever experiencing the truth. For fuck's sake.
This is probably you're the epitome of the
utopian impulse, the utopian impulse that everybody's trying to get to.
Right, but you're the epitome of the human condition. Even if you have it all, you're gonna want more.
Yeah, that's the human condition.
Yeah.
And I understand that so much. I'm not even bothered about wanting more. I don't want any more. So you know, I'm quite happy. I am, you know, quote Baba, what's that guy's name? Baba Free John? You know, he has different names now, but he goes, I am the bliss. I am the end-all be-all of what your soul is striving for. Well, that's me. And I'm hoiking up the disservices of it.
It's a hard life, ain't it, Bob?
Yeah. You see how you can't get through to me? You know, like you can't reach me, right? I'm like on the other side of the veil, you know, and you're saying, it's an interesting phenomenon, but we can't help him.
Bless you, child, for you have sinned. Now go say 20 Hail Marys for being so nice to everybody. Spin around 3 times, click your heels together and say, there's no place like Bob.
Yeah, that's something I've never had to do.
What, click your heels?
So did you get your questions tentatively answered?
Yeah.
See, it never gets answered, does it, Jerry?
No.
No, what?
No, it doesn't get answered completely, but we wasted some tape.
Yeah. So this is going to Simon.
Oh, I don't know how much will fit on his.
Oh, why not? He'll miss all this good stuff?
No. You mean the good stuff's at the end?
Well, the whole thing was probably worth someone's attention.
Right, I don't know how much you'll...
I don't think anything I ever said has ever been said before in this context, or, you know, in this way.
Yeah. No, I don't think this all will fit on there, but we'll discuss a little of his stuff, and he'll get a pat on the back because he'll feel like, see, even Bob approved of what I said.
Well, no, I approved of it, but it didn't tell us anything.
Yeah. Well, that's maybe because I didn't quite recapture the argument I had with him, but I think I did.
Well, I don't know why you'd want. I don't know why you'd want to argue. Well, you never should argue with anybody.
It's not an argument; it's a discussion. So it wasn't.
Yeah, but I mean, you have to watch how you discuss things, because if you're just trying to be ornery and be difficult,
I'm not.
or it's the nature of you not to agree with someone else because you're not them.
It's not that. I don't just.
Well, why were you
disagree with
why would you have a point of view? What, you know, you have to see that any point of view is not the whole situation. So you couldn't argue. You couldn't say, "Well, I believe this versus what what you believe has to include the other person."
Because I don't think that destiny runs everything. We do have a choice.
Well, he agreed. Yeah, but you also know that destiny runs everything. So you know, you're forgetting the paradox. You're taking one side of the issue.
I didn't say I also know destiny runs ruins everything. You just said that.
Yep. See, you're just being difficult again, Jerry.
Well, it's part of my discussion.
Yeah.
It's not to be difficult. It's because what my...
You see red, I see green. You go red, 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 red. I go green, 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 green.
But I'm willing to listen to your point of view.
Oh, yeah, because you can't stand being in red all the time.
So the argument itself is the proof of the pudding.
Yeah, it's like you're red and I'm green, and you say, I think I'll engage you for a while, and I'll put on a little green for a while, but in the end I'm going to kick the green out and go back to being red. That's the stubbornness of human consciousness.
Do you ever do that?
No, I would never do that. Because I'm not really here. I just hang around for Captain Beefheart.
And Connie too?
And Connie sometimes, yeah.
Oh, that's sweet though.
And I haven't listened to Beefheart stuff in years.
Well, do you want to say anything in closing? You want to read your flyer to the camera?
No, let's go.
Where are we going?
We're going to stop tape so we can look at it.
Go to the party?
No, I'm not going to the party. You go to the party. I ain't going to any party. That's that. I might find the truth at the party. It'd be so painful.
I might?
No, I might.
Oh!
Right?